what would they do out of this community in a situation like this? Do you know that?
Outside? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like Chattagee. If that happened and they said, well, the hell with you. I'm running the election and that's it.
I think no, they would be all kinds of court injunctions and all kinds of on the outside.
But they would send the police to stop it, wouldn't they?
No, not necessarily, but it depends. They could, but normally they probably wouldn't want that kind of conflict. They would have an election, but the government of Quebec would not recognize the mayor. And then it might jeopardize the funding. Who would negotiate for their funding and stuff like that? So it would be a big mess. They might have to put in a what do you call Price Waterhouse
third party
to administrate until that's settled. So that's a possibility if the Canadian government wants to push it that far. We don't know how far the feds would want to push this kind of issue.
I wonder if the Mohawk Council is in appeals right now, trying to do something as far as this is concerned.
Yeah, I don't know. I think their legal team is working overtime to figure out what their next step is. And we're in uncharted waters here, and I don't know if the legal team has a plan yet. I think they're consulting a lot of lawyers and a lot of precedents to see where this goes. It's in the federal court. And with this injunction, then they'll have to go for a counter, to go for a stay or something.
But would this decision, in your opinion, not only affect our community, will it affect other First Nation communities?
Yeah, anytime there's a judgment like this, it sets a precedent. So in this case, it would challenge the federal court could a Native person, another community that has its own election code, could challenge to the federal court and using what happened in Ganawag as a precedent. Particularly if you have another candidate who had been thrown off council for whatever reason, so that it sets a precedent. And then also even worse is that if anybody wants to challenge the jurisdiction of the Court of Ganawag, this judgment could be used in that, and that undermines the whole judicial system and that Ganawag it depends on it to at least enforce some laws in this community. Then you're getting into the ABC.
Well, every single law, because technically
membership.
Technically, majority, if not all the laws, are not enforceable.
Then you look at the blood quantum issue for people to run for chief. You can be a member, but to run you have to have there's a certain blood quantum requirement.
And this would make that moot too.
It would.
So, the community is watching. Everyone's watching. The media is covering it. It's something that we were going on hiatus there to vacation. And I don't know with this.
I call this one of the dullest elections we've ever had, and
not anymore.
Overnight, that changes. But it's be curious to see how the people react. I mean, it's one thing to talk about the electoral officer and the MCK, but it's the people in the street. How do they feel? How do they feel about this? And what do they think about Keith's action? Do they think what Keith did was good for the community or bad for the community? And that's where really the judgment's going to take place. It's not the judge or the court, or it's the person in the street. If Keith was allowed to run, I'm sure there are people that stand by Keith and believe in Keith and will vote for him. But how many will not? How many people has he turned off or felt that as a Grand Chief, this is not the direction that we want this community to go into?
Do you think that if they did have a community meeting, that it would hurt that decision that Lindsay made, or help that decision?
I think a lot of people are upset that a federal court would interfere with what's going on in Ganawag. I think I think there's a tremendous groundswell in that upsets people. So they have no business. You even have traditional people saying the federal court has no business doing that. So I don't think it would fare very well. I think Keith would have an uphill battle to try to convince the community that what he did was in the best interest of everybody.
And like I said to him, though, I'll play the other side of it. Is that he's left with no choice, though. How do you get justice when you have the Mohawk Council that makes a decision as a table going to judges that are paid by them into a court system that is run by them? Where is it the fairness in all that you know, I think that if you would have had an independent body or a communal body or an ombudsman in this community or something, then nobody would be put in that situation. But unfortunately, we're under the Indian Act system, trying to run the same system in a federal system, so you go to a federal court.
Well, yeah, that's his point of view, all right. But there's a whole body of people in this community. You know, there's 8,000 people that live here, and they should have a say and a voice in this as well. And did those people push him to do this? Is it the people that said, Keith, take this to the outside? And I don't know if that was there. And that's how people will judge it now. Is well, he did do that, and how does the people feel? Did he do the right thing by taking it outside? They're the ultimate judge, and they'll decide whether the case is right. And that was his alternative to going to federal court, was to go to the people and say, look, this is wrong, and if you think this is unjust, then you have to change the system. And if you can't do that, then yes, he is stuck with it. But it's the people that have to change the system, not a federal judge.
Well, like I said, this is going to continue for weeks, for months, and maybe even for years. You've been watching On the Record. We'll be back right after these messages.